So, welcome back again to my channel. By the way, I'm Gutierrez Donald Day from 2107. For today's video, I'm gonna make a chapter summary for chapter 10 or summary 2.10 entitled Application Layer. So, applications such as web browsers, online gaming, chatting with and emailing friends enable us to send and receiving data with relative ease. Typically, we can access and use these applications without knowing how they work. However, for network professionals, it is important to know how an application is able to format, transmit, and interrupt messages that are sent and received across the network. So, visualizing the mechanism that enable communication across the network is made easier if we use the layered framework of the OSI model. So, in this chapter, we will explore the role of the application layer and how the application services and protocols within the application layer make robust communication across data network possible. So, let's watch this. Application layer. The application layer is the closest to the end user. Network applications enable users to send and receive data with ease. The application layer acts as interface between the applications and the underlying network. Application layer protocols helps exchange data between programs running on the source and destination host. The TCP and IP applications layer performs the functions of the upper three layers of the OSI model. So the common application layer protocols include HTTP, FTP, TFTP, and DNS. So DNS is domain name system, HTTP is hypertext transfer protocol, SMTP is simple mail transfer protocol, POP is post office protocol, so DHCP is dynamic host configuration protocol, and FTP is file transfer protocol, and the last one is internet message access protocol. So presentation session layer. The presentation layer has three primary functions: format data, compress data, and encrypt data. So common standards for video include QuickTime and motion pictures, experts group, or MPEG. So common graphic image formats are graphics interchange format GIF, joint photographic experts group or JPEG, portable network graphics or PNG format. So PNG is a portable network graphics, joint photographic graphics, and we have a graphics interchange. So presentation and session layer is the session layer creates and maintains dialogues between source and destination applications. So the session layers handles the exchange of information to initiate dialogues, keep them active to start sessions that are disrupted or idle for a long period of time. So TCP and IP application layer protocols. So TCP application protocols specify the format and control information necessary for common internet functions. So application layer protocol must be implemented in both the source and destination device. Application layer protocols implemented to the source and destination host must be compatible to allow communication. So the next one is client server model. The device requesting the information is called the client. The device responding to the request is called a server. So client and server processes are considered to be in the application layer. The client initiates the exchange by requesting data from the server. The server responds by sending one or more streams of data to the client. Application layer protocols describe the format of the request and responses between clients and servers. The contents of the data exchange will depend on the application in use. Email is an example of a client-server interaction. So peer-to-peer networks is that in the peer-to-peer network or P2P networking model, the data is accessed without the use of a dedicated server. Two or more computers can be connected to a P2P network to share resources, and every connected end device, a peer can function as both a server and the client. So the roles of client and server are set on a per request basis. So peer-to-peer applications, some P2P applications use a hybrid system. In hybrid P2P, resource sharing is decentralized. Indexes that point to resource locations are stored in a central directory. So in a hybrid system, each peer accesses an index server to get the location of a source stored on another peer. So common P2P applications, common P2P networks include EDAN key G2B, G2, BitTorrent, and Bitcoin. Many P2P applications allow users to share pieces of many files with each other at the same time. So a small torrent file contains information about the location of the users and tracker computers. So trackers are computers keeping track of the file hosted by users. So this technology is called BitTorrent. There are many BitTorrent clients, including BitTorrent, uTorrent, Crosswhite, and QBitTorrent. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol and Hypertext Markup Language. A web address or uniform resource locator URL is a reference to a web server. A URL allows a web browser to establish a connection to that web server. So URLs and uniform resource identifier. URLs are the names most people associate with the web server. So the URL example is http cisco.com index html has three basic parts: http, the protocol or SIM, www.cisco.com, the server name, and index html is a specific file name requested. So using DNS, the server name portion of the URL is then translated to the associated IP address before the server can be contacted. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol and Hypertext Markup Language is the browser sends a GET request to the server's IP address and asks for the index HTML. So the server sends the request file to the client. The index.html was specified in the URL and contains the HTML code for this web page. The browser processes the HTML code and formats the page for the browser window based on the code in file. HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP is a request response protocol has three common message type: get, post, and put. So it's not secure. Message can be intercepted. So HTTPS uses authentication and encryption to secure data. So email protocol. Email is a store and forward method of sending, storing, and retrieving electronic messages. Email messages are stored in databases on mail servers. So email clients communicate with mail servers to send and receive email. Mail servers communicate with other mail servers to transport messages from one domain to another. So email clients do not communicate directly when sending email. Email relies on three separate protocols for operation: SMTP sending, PAP retrieving, IMAP retrieving. So SMTP operations, SMTP message formats require a message header and body. The body can contain any amount of text. The header must have a properly formatted recipient email address and a sender address. So an NSTP client sends an email by connecting to a SMTP server on port 25. So the server receives the message and stores its message in a local mailbox or relays the message to one another mail server. So user use email clients to retrieve messages stored on the server. So IMAP and POP are two protocols commonly used by email clients to retrieve messages. So here we have a diagram. Here is the recipient and mail list of recipients. Now forward email to another server. So POP operation message are downloaded from the server to the client. The server is send Less than on fourth 110 TCP per client request. Email clients direct their POP requests to mail servers on port TCP 110. So the POP client and server exchange commands and response until the connection is closed or aborted. So POP allows for email messages to be downloaded to the client's device, computer, or phone and removed from the server. There is no centralized location where email messages are kept. A downloaded message resides on the device that triggered the download. So as you can see here, this sentence here will shown here by this image. So IMAP operation. IMAP is another protocol used to retrieve email messages. Allows for messages to be displayed to the user rather than downloaded. The original messages resides on the server until manually deleted by the user. So user views copies of the message in their email file software. Users can create a folder hierarchy on the server to organize and store mail. That file structure is displayed on the email client. So when a user decides to delete a message, the server synchronizes that action and deletes the message from the server. So domain name, service, while IP addresses are crucial for network communication, they are not easy to memorize. Domain names are created to make server address more user-friendly. Domain names such as http www.cisco.com are user-friendly addresses associated with the IP address of a specific server. So domain name service is the DNS protocol allows for the dynamic translation of a domain name into the correct IP address. So the DNS protocol communications using a single format called a message. So DNS message format. DNS supports different types of records. Some of these record types are A, an end device IPv4 address, and S, an alternative name server. So for A, an end device IPv6 address pronounced quad A. So MX, a mail exchange record. So DNS server will first look at its own record to resolve the name. If the server is unable to resolve the name using its locally stored records, it relays the query to other servers. So the response is then forwarded to the requesting client. The DNS client service on Windows PCs also stored previously resolved names in memory. So ipconfig displays DNS display all of the DNS entries on Windows. So DNS hierarchy. The DNS protocol uses a hierarchical system with the root at the top and branches below. So the naming structure is broken down into small manageable zones. Each DNS server is only responsible for managing name to IP mappings for that small portion of the DNS structure. So requests for zones not stored in a specific DNS server are forwarded to other servers for translation. So top level domains represent either the type of domain or the country of region. So the NSLOOKUP command allows the user to manually place DNS queries. It can also be used to troubleshoot name resolution and issues. So how many options available for extensive testing and verification of the DNS process. So here we have dynamic host configuration protocol. So computers need network addresses to communicate over a network. Additional crucial information includes gateway address, subnet mask, and DNS server. So manually configuring an end devices is not scalable. DHCP allows for automated distribution of network information. So also DHCP distributed addresses are leased for a set period of time. Addresses are returned to the pool for use when no longer in use. So DHCP supports IPv4 and DHCPv6 supports IPv6. So here we have a DHCP operation. A DHCP client goes through the following basic steps to request an IP. So the client broadcasts a DHCP discover. So a DHCP server replies with a DHCP offer message. So the client sends a DHCP request message to server it wants to use in case of multiple offers. So client may also choose to request an address that it had previously been allocated by the server. So the server returns a DHCP pack message to confirm the list has been finalized. So we have here file transfer protocol. So FTP was developed to allow the transfer of files over the network. An FTP client is an application that runs on a client computer used to push and pull data from an ATP server. So here we have last important topic in this chapter is server message block, or SMB. Is a client server file sharing protocol. All SMB messages share a common format. So SMB file sharing and print services have become the mainstay of Windows networking. Microsoft products now support TCP/IP protocols to directly support SMB resourcing sharing, and after the connection is established, the user of the client can access the resources on the servers as if the resource is local to the client host. So the Mac, Linux, and Unix operating system have their own implementation of SMB. So again, in this chapter I already explained it by summarizing the chapter 10. So this all word here and sentence are the main important topic in this chapter. So that's all for this video. So thank you for watching.